Welcome back to the Tailosive Tech Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined again with Randy and yours truly. How are you today?
I am doing great. Sorry, or maybe not sorry, because our fans our listeners happen to like webcam footage off the MacBook. This is my makeshift rig here today. My office is empty. This will be the last episode in this space. I am moving, so
this is it.
This is it. I just wanted to take some time away from any real world responsibilities and talk about tech for about an hour or so. So here we are.
That's wonderful. Everyone's listening is avoiding responsibilities. Everyone recording is avoiding.
Or stuck in traffic or something. Yeah, this is where we go. Yeah.
But we're both back on the webcams today. Continuity camera is great, but just a little too buggy right now. As Randy can attest from last week's show, it went off like, what was it, 3 times or something?
I think so. Yeah.
I'm worried that it's overheating. I really hope that's not the problem, where like the phone just gets so hot that it has to do some disconnect thing and it makes the audio break and the video freeze. And I'm just really hoping that's a problem with the Intel in the iMac Pro, and it won't be a thing when I get Ventura on here. That's the hope.
I would love to give you feedback, but I have not put the beta on the Mac yet. I do plan on doing it. I plan on doing it, but I had to Google, or I guess go to Apple support. How easy is it to go back to a released version? You know, doing all that, or like make sure you have Time Machine turned on. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do all that. I just want.
I guess Time Machine is cool. I've heard people say good things about it, but
You've never used it?
Never.
Flawlessly. At least back in the Mountain Lion days when I had. Flawless. I loved that feature.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I
don't know what I would do with it.
Just so you know,
external drive, right?
You do, but just so you know, it does not eat up. If you're backing up a terabyte, each backup does not become a terabyte. It only backs up the differences between that slot and the next slot. So
interesting. Okay.
Yes. So when you back then, the UI used to be, if anybody, listeners or viewers, if you guys use this, please let me know, because I haven't done it in almost a decade now. But back then, when you would open up Time Machine, it would be like these cards, and you would like through a filing cabinet.
That's what I remember. Yeah.
And you would pick the date that you want to go back to, because it had the initial backup done, and it only documented the adjustments of between each version of that backup. So you would click the day and like, this is the one, and it would load it. And so you have all these other files too. So it was the perfect archive for my use case. But I don't know anymore, to be honest, because so much has moved to the cloud. iMessage, photos, everything that I felt documents is in the cloud for me. Desktop is cloud. So all the things that I was always using, it has become cloud based, where I don't need Time Machine, but I do need it for the operating system, evidently. So yeah. I might go back to that.
I'll have to find an 8 terabyte external drive.
It won't take the whole 8 terabyte. It'll take your
right.
How big is your? That's a good question. What's your storage right now?
Okay, I haven't checked it in a few weeks, so I'm curious.
I'll check mine too.
Oh no, it's a bad sign when it takes a while to load. Oh jeez. I'm at. I've used 3.61 terabytes.
I've used almost half a terabyte.
Oh.
420 gigabytes.
I do have 680 gigs just in the trash, though. So once that empties, some more will be freed up. But if I was on the 4 terabyte MacBook, I would be close to full right now.
That's stressful.
Yeah. This is when I'm more grateful I got it, but it's
that all because
with the
of that
skits
iCloud
and me trying
thing.
to. Oh yeah, they haven't updated. It's been over a month. I talked to Apple on the phone for like a hour, asking like, what do I do about this? Because I can't turn off iCloud Drive, or I did turn it off and it's still taking up space. I've emptied documents across all the different devices. The iCloud Drive's been off on the MacBook. That's not what that is.
Oh.
Also, I think I'd be way over 5 gigs if there's 680 gigs in the trash. But
iCloud on Mac would be your desktop in documents only,
yeah,
right?
I turned that off.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so that's not it. And yeah, it's been over a month, and they said that after 30 days it would just auto delete, and it still hasn't. It's still at like, oh, you're out of space, you're out of storage. So I'm very frustrated. I don't know what I'm supposed to do because I've tried everything. I tried talking to Apple, and I've tried deleting everything and turning everything off. I'm using less than 500 megabytes, and yet they say I'm at full. So I guess I have to switch to Android. That's the only solution.
That's the only solution. I have a it's not a life update, but I have a tech update for you. Okay.
Okay, let's hear it.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, I've noticed that. Was it? Am I?
Narrate for our listeners only what I'm doing.
Okay, Randy's pointing at his ear with the white stem hanging out, and I have a feeling. Oh my God, he has AirPods 3. Wait, they blend in. They look just like AirPods Pro when they're in your ear, so you can flex just as much on all the.
That's right.
Pro
Broke
wearers.
pods.
When did this come into your life?
This week. Now,
Is
allow
it
me.
Amazon?
Yes.
That's the way to do it.
I have an update
my
about
God.
the Amazon process. It's not free. It's only cheap. You have to pay for the return. You have to pay return label or return costs, and they will take the difference out of your refund. So you're eligible for a full refund. You will get the full refund after 90 days, but you are paying for shipping. So I am getting all but $9 back, I believe, only because you have to pay for the cautionary tale. What I've learned from Amazon Renew: keep the box that they send you, the Amazon box, and throw it away. Use it for your return if you're going to return it. No, not those boxes. The actual
Yeah, I know.
shipping.
I'm just saying. I don't throw away boxes.
Yeah, you're so good at that. Did I ever gift you with any of my
probably
boxes?
You may have. I don't remember. There was a P.O. box we had for a while, and a bunch came in those.
No, this would have happened when you
those...
came to my house. If you ever left with any of my boxes, because I was trying to get rid of boxes.
I don't. Oh, I may have. I'm trying to remember, but yeah, there's a chance.
Yeah. iPhone, the red iPhone, the red iPhone 8 that you have there might be mine.
Oh, you're right. It may be
because I had the
you did
product
have the red.
Yeah. So mine lives on then. But
there's a bunch of different people.
Yeah.
Nick sent me the.
Most of those are probably just Nick's when he was collecting them. He was For those who don't know, Nick used to dumpster dive after big Apple events near an Apple campus or a store.
Go to the Apple store dumpster. Yeah, just pull them all out.
And he would get it. Anyway, I'm sorry.
So what inspired you to get AirPods 3? We haven't revisited these for a while.
Because, pop quiz. Do you remember what I love but then also hate between Pro and Max AirPods? Do you remember my difference?
You loved the Max battery life, and not the Pro battery life sucks. So, but you like the sound quality. So AirPods 3 has the better battery life and the good sound quality? Is that it?
Very close. What I love about the Pro was the portability, convenience, little tic-tac.
Yes, pocketable.
And also, I could just do this, and I don't feel like I have weight on my hair.
They don't fall out.
Yeah,
mine's falling out like crazy right now.
I am being a bit disingenuous though for anyone who's watching our show that I have been pushing them back in my ear quite often, but the one thing about the AirPods Max is that having it pushed down for long periods of time was like, I can feel it. It just didn't bother me because I actually like the snug fit.
Sure.
I still feel these in my ear, just not to the same capacity as AirPods Pro. AirPods Pro, you can't avoid them in your ear. OG AirPods are still the most comfortable AirPods. I
For me,
stand by
yeah.
it. So what made me
It's
do
like
it?
I wasn't wearing headphones. I would wear them for hours and forget that they were there.
Because it's so
It was
light.
perfect.
I think it's a weight difference of the battery. So my new compromise, and I suspect I will return these again. In fact, I know I will. But I care about the battery too much, and I right now. Oh, what I wanted to run, ladies and gentlemen, we did a full EV before this, and I came in at 100%, and then Drew and I spent probably an episode's worth of talking offline before doing this.
Yeah.
So
We're just catching up on life stuff.
just life, bean buds, and I am at 61% with these. So
61.
yeah.
Wow. That's
and
impressive. I
I wanted to
found a trick, I think,
Tell me.
to make my battery life sound longer. Well, for one, I got the new pods a few weeks ago, so I'm at 100% battery health on both.
Good.
I'm at 30% right now, but I realized that through Discord, I should, because we're doing our calls through Discord, because FaceTime is still super buggy and doesn't work, I can set the microphone to on device. So I'm using the
Yes.
MacBook Pro mic, which drains these slower,
Yes, same.
which because we've been talking for a while, and I definitely noticed the battery life is better than what my old pods were, because we've been talking for over 3 hours now, and I still have 30% left. So I can tell it's not using the mics. Otherwise, I would have had to charge by now. So
Would you
Hopefully it
say,
lasts.
Oh wait, how did you get with the new AirPods? Did you get in contact with Apple and they sent you new ones, or
no, I went to the store. I had a rattle on the right one right
I
as we
remember.
started recording, and I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, and we talked about it for a while, and then the audience informed me, Drew, you idiot, they have this return policy that extends the 1 year warranty for the rattling issue, because a lot of AirPods suffered from that, and they made me try everything. I had to, check it with multiple devices and check the firmware. And I finally took it to the store, and they tested them and said both failed. So we're going to give you, they didn't replace the case, but both the pods are brand new. And they sound great. Everything's like day one again. The battery life is great. So didn't cost anything, which is awesome. And because when I tried to record through OBS and FaceTime at the same time, macOS freaks out.
yes,
I could never get that to work reliably, because FaceTime tries to neutralize the
Yeah.
mic and sound to balance it out, and OBS gets interfered with that and goes, I don't know what it's doing. And Discord plays so nicely with OBS because they act like nothing's changed. It's just two apps are accessing the same camera and the same mic. So I'm glad we've switched to Discord calling, because now it saves the battery life.
Yes.
And I can record and talk to you on the same device. Whereas before, I would talk to you on my iPad, and now we have completely worked the iPad out of my use case.
yeah, yeah.
I can't find a use for it.
With the lifting of the images has been a game changer for thumbnails and just. I like to send stickers of Kika to everybody who cares to know.
Yeah.
So my brother,
That's right. It's just an
uses his-
instant sticker.
when she gets in a little tight ball, I'm like, lift, send to my brother, and he just gushes, or send to my friend, send to family, and they all.
That's
be
by
like, "Oh."
far my favorite feature,
I
easily.
love it. The lift feature alone has made the beta completely worth it. Even if I've experienced some hiccups, but nothing to the effect of that. Like, I need to go back to iOS 15. I have no interest.
Nothing major.
I long-term review of the iOS 16 has made me, or just even the beta makes me like, it solidifies the environment that I knew,
It really
the
does.
system I wasn't going to leave, and I'm like, this is perfect. This is great. And I other betas in the past used to have issues with pairing to Bluetooth. I remember having an issue with my OG AirPods. Nothing. Flawless. Actually, on AirPods, really quickly, welcome to the 100% battery life of AirPods Pro. I got mine off frame over here, but yeah, it's safe to say that you are now with me in the camp of comfort of knowing that like you're not in a hurry to upgrade anymore for anything.
Not anymore. Yeah, there's not really a huge rush.
When I got these batteries, or I say batteries because I did it for the battery. When I got the AirPods 3,
Yeah.
it was before I returned AirPods Max, so I did not know I was going to have to pay for it. Had I known
Okay.
I had to pay $9, I might have reconsidered a little bit more before I did this, but
It's the same as your iCloud. It's $3 a month.
I can live with that because I'm having fun with them, but they are not as comfortable as OG, and obviously you don't get the same tech. But I use these for if I'm not moving my jaw a lot, it's perfect. And I wanted to try.
Yeah.
This is my first time doing it again with a fresh mindset, doing long form content as my in-ear monitor, so I can hear you. Because like you, this mic is what's being fed through Discord, so. I'm preserving the battery life a lot here, but I just wanted to. I missed the MagSafe like puck thing on my MagSafe Duo. With the case.
Yeah, you can do that now, right?
Love it.
It has it.
I have.
That's what I was really hoping for. I hope they were gonna replace my case.
They did not replace my case with AirPods Pro, and I was like, all right, it is what it is. I accept it now.
But this isn't from my original pair either. This is still a replacement case from 2020. So nothing is from the original package now.
So they're not your original. Ooh. If you replace a hammer's head and then a hammer's like handle, is it the same hammer?
None of it is original anymore.
None of it's original. That's you. When I did
Except
the
the
renew
box.
this,
I still have the box.
Count. My box is, whatever. I don't think I can pick it up on the camera here, so I'm just gonna narrate out loud as well. I'm gonna show, but when I received these Amazon renewed AirPods 3 or third gen, there are scuffs. It is not mint.
Really? Okay.
It came to me not perfect, but honestly, not even
Functional.
bad either. Looked at it, I was like, oh, okay, slightly used. Not big scratches or anything like that, but you can see slight abrasion, but it's, the material of these things. This looks brand new when I put them next to my other AirPods cases. I'm like, oh yeah, this still looks new, but there are slight abrasions on it, and I'm like, all right, that's expected. I'm not even remotely stressed about it because I think I paid one. I don't want to misspeak actually because I might misspeak. I'll just tell you what I paid because I did a price comparison.
Official number.
The official number
Cool.
is a little bit more impressive. But I figured another 3 months. My headspace was 3 months again. We'll have another event, and will we get AirPods then? I don't know.
Is it only
It
3
gives me
months?
time to kind of play around.
Yeah, you're right. It's gonna be around this time in 90 days. It'll be iPhone season. Wow, that went by fast.
Yeah, $116.
Whoa, wow, that's cheaper than AirPods 2.
Yeah.
Good deal.
So that's why I did it.
Dang.
Renew. I think Renew's for the win. Buys us 3 more months.
Are you tempted to keep him at all?
No.
No.
I want to. I want to because I want AirPods 3 to be AirPods 1 and 2. I want them so bad to be that comfortable, and I just have to accept they're not.
That was the problem I had with them last time I tried them. It's just that bulbous design. I'm sure it allows for better sound quality, like it can hit lower frequencies with that design, but they don't fit in my ears as good as the second gen do.
If I accept that they are not that comfortable, but there's still no pressure. There's no pressure like AirPods Pro with their tips that they come with. The foam tip though completely still changes the thing. The problem with AirPods Pro now is just strictly battery, and even on 100% battery, you and I would not be able to continue a full day's podcast on today's schedule with those AirPods for me. So I purposely
We'll see if they last. I'm curious if not using the mic might let it stretch over the whole.
This is a cool case study then.
30%. Yeah, we're gonna find out. If they die by the end of the show, then our test is complete. So we'll know. But I will admit now, since they've replaced these, if AirPods Pro 2 don't have better battery life, it's a no-go for me. There's nothing they could add to those that would make it worthy if it's the same battery life as before. Better battery life would absolutely incentivize me to upgrade, but that's it. Even the Find My thing, the sound quality, lossless, I don't care about any of that. That's all the battery life.
Battery life is the important one. I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about that.
Dictates how long they'll last.
Otherwise, you're going to be doing things like I'm doing, where you're just trying to find little loopholes that are not, breaking any rules. And
right.
I'm just trying out different AirPods. I want to like these. They're great. I love how small they are. I love how they sound. And I love the always transparency.
It's hard to find pods that small. Mm-hmm.
Always transparency on is cool.
Always on. That's basically what I'm doing anyway. Maybe I should turn off.
Yes,
noise
turn it off.
I
turn off. Oh, Drew. Yeah, no wonder. Yeah, turn it off. Now we'll.
It sounds
make the
weird.
Rest of the show.
Yeah,
I know.
It's such
you
a
can't
bizarre.
Hear your voice. You have to hear the vibrations to gauge your talking.
I hear the vibrations of my voice, and it doesn't sound natural. Whatever. It's fine.
Do you think with AirPods Pro 2, assuming that's going to be the only one they announce now, do you think that they would have a complete redesign or be the exact same shape like how second gen AirPods was and it's just updated specs?
I hope the latter. I'm really man, this is not working. I'm sorry. I have to go back to transparent. It sounds so bad. It's hurting my ear. Okay. Water. I'm keeping it on transparent. I was like, my eyes are rattling. Ugh, it's weird. I hope that they don't update it because I think the design is perfect, like the four stem approach, and I don't know of a good way they could design it that I would like it more other than new color options, but the shape is fine and the stem works. So I would just say there's no need. Like don't fix what's not broken. And I think there was a fairly recent report that said they aren't planning on changing the design. So I'll hope that report ends up being accurate because for a while there was a lot of analysts saying that they were going to ditch the stem, and I think it would be
ditch
terrible.
The battery. You mean?
Good. Yeah. Well, everyone corrected me. Sorry, last time I said that the AirPods Pro uses a coin-shaped cell now. It's not in the stem anymore. So
I didn't know that.
The stem is other stuff, but either way, I'm like, well, put the battery in the stem and the coin. Do both. Give me twice the battery life or something. It's still space that isn't hurting anything. If anything, the stem makes the microphone perform better. So keep it. No need to get rid of it. I don't think it's a big complaint. Of anyone who's used AirPods for any extended period, they're not like, ugh, I wish the stem was gotten. It's like easy to interact with and pull it out. And
have you only used AirPods Pro lately, or do you ever use your AirPods like the other headset at all?
Lately, only AirPods Pro. There's still my wife has a pair of AirPods 1 that she still uses.
So then,
and as a backup, if my AirPods Pro die and we're recording or something, or I forgot to charge them, I use the AirPods 2. But it's been several months. It's probably been 3 or 4 months since I've used them. They're still here. They're right here.
So I have a question for you then. On iOS 16, did you have to map your ear for AirPods Pro or no, because you have the tip anyway?
I don't think I mapped anything.
Oh, my God. No. Okay, so that's what I had to do with this. When I put them in, iOS 16 beta had me use the sensors, and it mapped my ear on both sides. And it took an imprint of my ear so it can calibrate how put the sound in here. And I only bring this up because I was like, this wasn't a thing before. Oh, wait, I got the phone tip. So obviously it's going to be funneled through. Talking to you right now as you're describing, I accidentally covered one of the speakers on the back end of the AirPods 3 here, and you sounded very different. And I was like, whoa. And when I took my finger off, I heard it automatically adjust its frequency in my ear. And I was like,
oh,
the
wow.
mapping.
Adaptive EQ.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So you could hear it in real time.
I heard it happen right now, and I was like, oh, that's right, because I mapped my ear with the sensors and stuff. And I didn't know if they had, because if I did
That's
not have
clever.
this case, I would have never known because I would have just used AirPods Pro. But
Right.
so you should try it with your
Yeah, mine never
AirPods.
did that. Yeah, maybe I should. I know that they come out with a new like custom profile
Yeah.
for AirPods Pro, so you can like customize it to. I was like, I don't care,
Right.
but it's interesting that they can come up with all this crazy stuff. But at the same time, I'm like, their headphones just
Right.
play the sound. That's all they. I don't need to like. Well, I want it to sound like it's coming from here instead of here.
Yeah.
It's like the spatial audio demo thing when you're watching a show on your phone.
Yeah, I don't want it.
And we
I
do-
don't want it anchored right there where it's like, huh? Look at me. I'm wearing nothing at all except I can feel them. So
It's technically impressive, but it's not useful for me. But
you just wait, Drew, until Apple AR comes out, and then you're gonna see why. You just
they
wait.
keep saying next year for that. I'm sure it's very useful for the AR glasses
This is
that don't
Elon's
have speakers.
2 weeks equivalent.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Oh, next year they're going to do it. You watch. They're working on AR. Yeah.
Just wait.
When they do, it'll be cool, but it's not here yet.
I could. I mean, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole again because we spent a lot of time talking about it, but I just, nothing's changed. Unless Apple does something I was not thinking about, like, oh, I could use it. I don't know how I could be convinced to it. Apple, we talked about on the other episode on EV today that there was a podcast that Craig and Jaws was on, Apple executives talking about Dub a couple weeks or last week, and
Yep.
and we talked about CarPlay for EV, but here they talked about the Mac and the future of gaming. And again, Craig was like, "Oh no, I hope you can see now how very
Now that it
serious
runs
we
No
are
Man's
about."
Sky.
Yeah, we're very focused about gaming. It's a very important thing, and I think now that we don't have to worry about third-party chips holding us back, we can show how serious we are about gaming. No, but I think it all alludes that they might want to roll, or I'm strictly disclosure or disclaimer. This is just speculative talk here. I totally see it just being Apple Arcade on headset with the motion tracking, and that's them taking it seriously because these chips are powerful enough and technically impressive, yes, but I'm not a gamer like that, so no.
Nah, I don't see that many. I know some people like arcade, but I'm sure it's all on the phone. I don't see a lot of people playing Apple TV arcade games, and there's not that many AR stuff on arcade anyway. So
Yeah.
it would have maybe one or two interesting demos, but it wouldn't justify the cost. I really, again, don't believe that's a product that they plan on launching. I think it's a demo device for developers internally. I think that's what it is for glasses. I think they're going to manufacture something, but I don't think they'll release it to the public. And we're hearing about that manufacturing line. That's what all these sources are talking about, is a $2,000 or $3,000 expensive headset with LiDAR and cameras, and you put it on and they can code for it like glasses, but it's not something they plan on selling. Or it'll be like a dev kit that they sell. If you remember the Mac Mini dev kit, not anybody could buy that.
Yes.
You had to like write an essay on why you think you need it or something, you know? It was
Yeah, having a dev account wasn't enough.
no, you couldn't just pay the 100. You had to pay the yearly fee and pay the extra. What was it, like $500
For the privilege.
for the privilege of getting to test it, and then they wanted you to mail it back after.
You don't even get to keep it.
They wanted you to return it. You can't even keep it, and then everyone got upset by that. So they said, "Well, we'll refund you like $200." So
That's right. Yo, can they pay me?
it was like a big. That's what I could see the headset going. I don't see it as like a right after the iPhone 14. Hey everyone, check out this Apple View headset. You can use it for sneaky Sasquatch AR. You know, like,
What did you call me?
This may be one of those things Drew ends up being way off on, which I've been way off on a lot, but I'm standing by that statement. I'm just gonna say nope, won't be for us. We'll get the glasses in 10 years when the tech is ready. But
I did
speaking
not.
of, sorry, go ahead.
I never thought about it being an internal product only, and we only know about it because of manufacturing.
Someone's got to build it.
Someone's got to build it, but yeah, I could totally see that being used to help make Apple glasses, which would be a way better, way cooler thing.
That you could use passively. That you could use in public and in like a watch or AirPods. But the headset, no, that's a living room office toy. And I don't think people will spend thousands of dollars on office toys. I mean, maybe Apple could get away with it, probably, but it just doesn't seem like them. They don't.
It'll have the same fate as HomePod
Yeah.
and alike, where it's just like, yeah, it might sell.
His
but
fate will be the same as ours.
his fate will be the same as ours.
But I had a very specific question for you on M2 because today, at the time of recording, Apple just launched the M2 MacBook Pro. I don't think either of us plan on buying it. Sounds like Nick doesn't even plan on buying it. So,
boy,
we thought
he tricked us, man. I'm telling you,
he really fooled us.
he rug pulled me.
People were asking us, "Is Nick trolling? Is he serious?" We don't know any more than you guys do. Trust us. Like if he is trolling us, it's on us. It's not just you guys because he will not tell us off the record anything different from what's on the show. So
Yeah.
we don't know if anyone on the show is really going to get it. I think that's fine because I don't recommend it. Don't think it's a good machine to get. I'm sure the M2 is plenty fast, but I would just say wait for the MacBook Air. It's going to come out in probably a couple weeks. But there was performance results that leaked of the M2 chip, and we got some of the Geekbench tests, and this particularly I was curious for your response on because you bought the 14-inch MacBook Pro. But
Yes.
there were people saying that the non-binned M2 is in CPU performance very close, almost spot on with the binned M1 Pro. And we got a bigger display, we got the notch, we got the audio jack for high impedance headphones on the new Air, we got the new design language, we got MagSafe, we got the new color options. So my question is, if you were in a scenario where you were back in the market for a laptop again, like say you didn't, because I know you already bought your 14-inch Pro. You already bought
yes. The answer is yes.
Randy saved a bunch of time.
I have been struggling and kicking myself because what is cooler? Well, okay, no, I'm trying to give you a straightforward answer first, but it's always more complicated than that.
It's always more complex.
I love mini LED. I'm okay with promotion. I just don't care.
That's what I thought you were going to get hung up on was the mini LED.
I am so hung up on that. I love it. I love it, love it, love it because I am.
Remind me your storage configuration in RAM.
Yeah, 4 terabytes. Okay, and I have 32 gigs.
Okay, scratch that.
I know.
So you can't spec match the Air with your laptop.
And that was the thing. Someone asked me this. I don't know if I was having a somewhere along the line. Somebody had this exact conversation had came up, which is why I already premeditated my answer here, and I can't spec for spec it. If I could, it wouldn't even be a discussion. But the thing is, the MacBook Pro now, with the M1 Pro for me, is it's so vibrant, like of a product with the ports. The only thing that I use that is exclusive to the MacBook Pro that I can't get on the MacBook Air as of today, which I'm sure will change, is I do use the HDMI. I'm using it right now for my ultra wide. That's it. I'm using 2 USB-C ports, MagSafe, headphone jack for my speaker monitors, my audio monitors, and HDMI. That's always my configuration. And it's a bit of a cheat because one of my USB-Cs is just the hub to have my cam link plug into my Sony, and there's that. Or I use it for my keyboard because it's USB-A. But putting that to the side, if I was to go forward and get the Apple Studio display, then that frees up the HDMI port. So I don't necessarily need the HDMI port the same way.
Yeah. And you would get some Type-C ports back for chargers and stuff.
Which I'd be really happy about. That'd be cool. And I like the idea of having one brick output, two power sources, power out. That's cool. With that, mini LED is to me what promotion is to you, because I like the dynamic color.
You can see it. Yeah.
I can't, but the thing is, I can't say it would be a deal breaker either. That's not fair because I have this lid closed.
Use it closed a lot, right?
I do. All I care about is having access to my my applications. Really, I don't take it for granted when I'm right now. The lid is open. I'm using the cam. I can see my inky blacks. I can see color pop and vibrancy that I can't see here. And I have promotion when I move my mouse right here, and I'm like, ooh, look at that. I don't take it for granted. I just don't care. But
what was your MacBook? I'll figure
MacBook
it out.
Air.
Go ahead.
Yeah, my MacBook Air last time was a 0.5 terabyte, 8 gigs of RAM. So I got the base M1. No, but it wasn't binned.
Do you have the non-binned M1 Pro?
I have the non-bin M1 Pro.
So you had the 16-core GPU as well?
I do. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Non-binned.
Let me see here.
32 gigs of RAM, 4 terabytes. And
got it.
I will not compromise on storage ever again. I told you that then. I say it now, and I mean it.
Me neither.
The deal breaker will be SSD, and I don't care if it's $8,000 more. If I will pay what I need to pay to have at least 4 terabytes, which I've filled almost half a terabyte right now.
Apple has a very thick profit margin on those higher end SSDs, and I'm aware of that. That's how I compliment me returning everything. That's my apology letter to Apple. I buy and return a lot of your crap, and then I buy the 8 terabyte model. So we break even.
It's I accept it. They will make the money on me off the onboard SSD. I just won't compromise on that anymore. That was the only thing I cared about, and I remember telling you, like, anything outside of that was just going to be a bonus, a privilege to use, and we weren't even.
So you don't want a NAS, because that's what I always get asked when I talk about storage.
I would use it, but no, I don't want to. I love simplicity. Johnny Ive loves simplicity in elegance and aluminium,
especially with trips and going places. Like, it's so much easier to not have to pack all those little drive. We were rearranging the house and all the furniture recently, and we have so much e-waste. It's pathetic how many like old hard drives I have in boxes just piling up. And I'm like, I'm so sick of this. I'm so sick of the cables.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, let me access my bigger drive. No, it's like, I know it's expensive. I know the profit margin's probably super thick on this one. But hey, they had the 6% cashback glitch, so I think I won a little bit in the end too. But that was
that was their apology to you.
That was manna from heaven, dude. Like, they had a glitch for 6% cash back that was unintentional, and it happened to be active on the day I spent more on an Apple product than ever before. Then they were like, oops. Couldn't have worked out better. But
that's
thank
a blessing.
Thank God that happened. But the NAS thing is, with how we've rearranged my room now, everything is powered off of one outlet. Wow. We don't, because of where stuff is, there's not a single spare outlet left.
Wow.
So the idea of having and you know me, I like the iMac, and I
Yeah.
like all-in-ones. I
Yeah.
like simplicity. I do not like towers. Even the cheese grater, I'm not a fan of. I don't like big boxes consuming extra power with extra lights on. So I know they exist, and I know that there are probably more cost-effective ways to buy storage,
Yeah.
but they're not going to be simpler, like you said. That's what it is.
We
It's
spent last week talking about the dream setup of having like your phone docked to everything, because the thing
oh,
that I
that would be
love
so nice.
is no cable management. All this is a lot.
Yeah.
I can't even hide this cable right here for our viewers watching. I can't hide it, and so I just go like this and take it off frame a little bit because it's all a lie. It's a cable cluster
It's all
over here.
That's why I
It's-
love using the onboard mic so much. Is
Yeah.
It's so much cleaner than I used to have that big old arm that I
Yeah, I
rotated
remember.
around in the cable, and I had to move it out of the way. Now it's just baked in, which is better anyway because when I go on trips and stuff, I'm not going to be able to take my mic. We have several big trips coming up in the next. So, spoiler alert: there's no tech podcast next week.
Spoiler.
Highly unlikely.
Yeah.
If
If it is,
by some
your
miracle,
current hosts will not be in attendance.
neither of us will be there if there is one. But, there shouldn't be a show next week if everything goes according to plan, and it's because I'm going to be on a trip. But when I'm on the trip and making content and recording stuff, I can just use everything on board, less to pack, less to travel. Which is why I really wish they would have made a dual USB-C charger for my MacBook Pro back when they released it. They instead saved it for the 35 watt.
Could we buy
get why,
that
but-
like as a post purchase like that tells me they can do it. Oh, 35 watts is
It's
just
totally
the right
possible.
amount. Like just okay, update it.
I don't know
If we
why
have to
they
pay
saved it for the 35 watt though.
one power brick, dude. One power brick to power MagSafe Duo Mac. Like that's it. That's your simplicity makes me so
But like my brick with my laptop is 140 watts
not good enough.
and there's a single port. No, that can't do it.
Not good enough. No, sorry. It's too
That's
big.
4 times the wattage, I think. Something
Nope.
like No, just one.
Just one.
By the way, I never fast charge my laptop. Never. It's at 100% all the time, and if it does get low, then I'm okay with it trickle charging because
You're not on hold at 80% right now?
No, it did that stupid thing where I used it on the go recently. I wanted to edit something, and I was in the living room, so or we watched a show in bed, so I was using the laptop away from the charger, and I plugged it back in when I was done. And optimized battery charging was like, okay, you want 100 now. So it pushed it to 100.
Crank it up, boys!
Crank it up. He's using the battery. It's got to be ready. And it's been like over 2 weeks now. It's stayed at 100%. And I taped over the light because I hate it so much. I can't stand it. So I just leave it. Sorry, I know I'm going to mute it because I know when I plug it in, it makes a loud sound.
All right, well, while you do that, I envy you, not envy you, but I sympathize with you. I lost power for 5 minutes 3 weeks ago.
Oh.
And that's all it took for it to be like, oh God, his life support's been unplugged. Give him to 100. Not even 5 minutes. I lost power.
It's the Rock meme where it's like,
Oh yeah.
I'm going to disconnect the power source for 5 seconds. Optimize battery charging. Take it to 100. Full blast. We can't let this happen again.
I'm back on 80 now, but you know what? After today, this laptop's moving with me over to the new place, so I'm going to be at 100 again for another 2 weeks. So I'm like, come on.
There you go.
Just be smart about this. Okay, that's my new Mac OS feature request. Just tell me when to stop charging. That's simple.
Charge limiter. That's all I want.
That's all we need.
Teslas have it. Just a little percentage in the settings app. You just 80. Keep it there unless I say otherwise.
So
You could put a little toggle in the battery icon. I could click on it and say charge to full now. That's it. That's all I want.
Teslas do it. Windows does it.
Yeah, it's very simple tech. Al Dente does it, but they don't have like the core OS feature
Yeah.
like activated. So whenever you do a software update, it's like, oh, okay, there's more percentage, so let me
Shoot it
keep
up.
pumping it. But
Yeah.
I don't care anymore. I'm not going to download software. I'm not trying to get it back to 80 because I've just accepted that the battery life on this MacBook is so freaking good that the health could deteriorate a lot and I would not care. Like I just don't care.
Or you wouldn't even notice.
Let the
By the
cycles.
time you notice or care, you're gonna be well into its life cycle, like on the
It'll
latter
be
half.
5
of
years,
it. Yeah.
6 years. Yeah.
So-
This is the best battery life of any
Thing.
Mac they make.
Thing.
Any Apple device. Yeah.
Anything.
this anything. It beats the iPhone. It easily beats the iPad. It beats every
beats
other Mac.
the
So I'm
how
very
many
happy
heartbeats I have left on this earth. It beats it all.
Yeah,
Anything.
you're probably right. But before we get too off track from the question, here's what I come back to. So you like the additional ports?
I wanted to
You
talk
like-
about. I'm glad we're going back because I wanted to bring something up to this.
I have
here's
a number.
my thing. Okay,
Okay.
what's your number? Let's hear your number first.
You like the mini LED?
I like. Oh, God,
You
I know
like-
where- Oh no. Okay.
You like 4 terabytes?
Yes.
You know this.
I do. I know
like
you too
the-
well.
You like the extra ports.
Yes.
If we compared your spec of the
Yeah.
14-inch MacBook Pro and compared it to the maxed out MacBook Air.
Yeah.
Okay, so it may not be spec for spec, but it has 24 gigs of RAM. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's got a non-binned M2, I think. And
I
hold
think.
on. And it's got 2 terabytes of storage instead of 4.
Yes.
Oh yeah, no, that was
Let's hear it.
non-binned. Correct.
Yeah. Let's
The
hear
difference, the price difference, $1,400.
it. Cheaper?
You could. It's $1,400 less for you
Yeah.
to get a maxed out MacBook Air
Yeah.
with 24 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte SSD, the lighter design, new color. You know,
I want to tell you a dirty little secret here that only you and I know and no listeners.
right? Because they're not here. They're not listening.
They're not. Yeah. I would not even get the maxed out SSD.
You liar! You just said. You
Wait,
would-
hear me here. Here's why I would only.
You just said
consider-
I'd never compromise.
It's not a compromise. It is me adapting. And here's what I've been struggling with. The bigger conversation I was actually having with my friend about this very subject was the only way
Okay.
you can get me to get to a MacBook Air or lighter, meaning 12-inch MacBook comes back or something.
Ooh,
Here's how this would work.
that'd be beautiful.
I would have to compromise on one thing, and it's not. I'm not even talking storage at this point. It's something complete. I would have to compromise on minimalism.
Oh,
I would not have one. I'm sorry. I would not have one. This is not one Mac. Are you getting it? I would have 2 Mac OS devices, and I will tell you. Yes.
I know where this is going.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes. I would have 2 Mac OS devices and
Are
one.
you getting it?
Are you getting? I'm sorry, I broke way too early because it showed up in my head. Are you getting it? These are not single devices anymore. These are 3 separate devices. We just bring
That's
them-
the Tim Cook. It's like we're gonna make a laptop, a tablet, and a calculator app. These are not one device. These are 3 separate devices. Oh no.
Oh.
Does everyone else know where we're going, or are we crazy?
No, okay,
Are they
yeah,
watching us
okay.
like we're
First of all,
insane?
let me bring everyone up to speed. I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm crying. Oh,
Wow.
Okay.
My cheeks are hurting.
yeah. Oh, I am
My
as red as
facial
a
cheek.
cherry right now. I'm laughing so hard. Okay. Oh my, that's so good. Okay. I would have 2 Mac OS devices, and one would be my dedicated at-home, effectively
Desktop.
desktop, but and here's the part you don't know, and I've been thinking about this for a while for a whole different reason. I'm thinking about having I'll say it, screw it. I'm thinking about building a server, but it wouldn't be a server on Mac OS because it wouldn't work the same way.
Whoa.
I'm thinking about having
This is a turn.
I'm thinking about having a dedicated always on computer that would you inspired me, Mr. Erickson. Plot twist.
Wow.
You want to talk about a plot twist?
Yeah, that never happens.
How much could I downsize on one way of paying a monthly, payment, so to say, and other things too, and have a dedicated local, just have my own local server. People like, I have friends and people, I'm sure listeners do too, that this is not a new thing that they have at home. Your iMac has effectively become your local server for you.
Kind of, yeah.
I want to have a computer that's always on and connected to the internet that can monitor all my security stuff. Especially now that I'm moving into a house again, I'm going back into the
Right.
surveillance side of things. Two, I've been wanting to do. I really struggled. I've kept this under wraps for a while because I don't like announcing something until I can honestly commit to it. I want to have a 24-hour stream where I play my music on YouTube, or not just my music.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
I want to have not just my music, but music that I like endorse, something that would fall in the whole brand of my greater New Realm Media outlet of stuff that would run my albums.
You could have like a chat that's like a server, basically.
Yeah, I like lo-fi, and it would be in a way that I actually set it up where it would play relaxing music at certain times of the day, maybe more aggressive music.
Oh man,
I was thinking about
I almost wish you didn't announce this. Now everyone's gonna know, but this is cool. This is a nice announcement. I think that would be fun.
I'm saying it now because I'm that far along in the planning process of it that I've thought long and hard about this, and I knew it could only happen if I didn't live in an apartment. And now, to my own surprise, within the last 30 days, this is actually becoming a reality.
Because you'll have fiber there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you'll have plenty of bandwidth to spare.
Yeah,
we tried this on Talos of Music a few years ago, but we didn't have the bandwidth for it.
Yeah, and now I want to bring it back. And to that point too, I want Talos of Music to kind of be a thing again with that, if possible, because I would have the bandwidth, and I love like how Nick is with space is how I am with music, and I would love to make that be a thing. And my dirty secret is that this was something I was planning back in 2020, back in San Diego, and I never really said it.
Okay.
I had a very clear vision of what I was going to try to do with a local server that was just connected all.
Yeah, you already had the artwork. Someone made the drawing with Kika and everything, and you could play the music. Oh, that would be beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. That's a great idea. So a desktop in your near future was somewhat likely anyway. But see, I thought you were going in a different direction. I was assuming, because you said you wouldn't max out the storage, that adds another $400 to the total savings of what your MacBook Pro would be versus a maxed out MacBook Air. So if you saved $1,800 by going with an Air, that's more than enough for you to have an M2 Mac Mini.
That's actually so the Mac Mini or Studio.
Studio.
If I had a local desktop that was strictly meant for pro applications, Logic. It's funny to say it like this, but OBS for streaming or recording our podcast, Final Cut for those edited videos and everything else in between, making a Mac be a Mac for all those things, and maybe do the whole 24-hour stream. This is where I'm showing you how I'm not fully have it all fleshed out yet, but something that would still have to be on anyway. Because I've did my analysis ever since I had the M1 MacBook Air. I was like, this is a cool product, but it's a stopgap for the thing that I really wanted. But it's always docked, it's clammed. But I like you, I will unplug every now and then and take my laptop somewhere, and I'm like, yes, thank God for this.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to do that more, but sometimes I put myself out of range where I'm not near my internet or out of the Wi-Fi. A lot of little variables like that made me think that like this would not be an issue if I just had a dedicated like iMac again. But then I was like, wait, why stop there? The Mac Mini is perfect now.
Yeah.
Why stop there? Now they got a
Mm-hmm.
Mac Studio, but that's maybe too much. So then I started doing all these little number crunches and stuff like that. And I was like, the storage was always so it can house all my Logic Project files, all my Final Cut files, all my photos and
Right.
stuff like that. That can still always be my local dedicated brain right there. Here's the
Yeah.
core of it all. And then my
Uh-huh.
MacBook could be that ultra light portable thing that I loved about the Air. What I would
That's
love
what you
about the
take
Air
on the
again,
go.
or a 12-inch MacBook. And then I could still do
Right.
all the day-to-day cloud things on that little sucker. Especially if this is our new webcam. I could still do the bare essentials
Yeah.
of doing our podcast on having a phone if it, the tech is there for it and it doesn't overheat. I've thought long and hard about this. So would I
No,
do
that
a
would be
MacBook
cool.
Air? Yeah. But the caveat is that the other stuff has to come to fruition and work in my favor.
I see.
That's the only way I would do it. And now the reality of the situation is that I'm loving my MacBook Pro too much, where none of that is a necessity. But I still at least want to have like a server set up, so maybe that lays the groundwork for me to get something ultra portable, and I could live with that. So, never say never.
That's a good idea.
It's
I
more
like that
realistic
plan.
than I thought. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that would be fun. Especially just because I want to see this new design. Like the MacBook Air hasn't been redesigned in like 4 years, I think. So to see it updated with the modern chassis and seeing how thin it looks and all the pictures, it instantly makes my MacBook Pro look way more chunk. But I can't justify it at this point. But I'm trying. I'm trying to think of a reason to keep it, but
it's so hard.
I still just am excited to review it at least. I want to play around with it. I want to try out the M2 chip and hold it and take it with me on travel with it, just move around with it and just see what it's like. So
Yeah.
that has me excited. That's what I'm waiting for. I don't really care to try out the M2 MacBook Pro just cuz it looks like every MacBook Pro from the last 6 years.
Yeah.
It was 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a very traditional design now, and I've seen it and I've used it, and I know I love the Touch Bar, but I don't want to fall in love with it again. So I don't want to mess with that relationship. So
You'll have to call that hotline.
yeah, the Touch Bar, 3D Touch, airport network hotline for
Oh man, the airport network.
all the Apple's things that have died.
That I've loved too. I love the airport. That was good.
Yeah,
Touch
me
Bar,
too. My friends
I-
had some.
I wish I could miss it, but I don't want to go near it for the. I don't want to like it. I never
You
had
don't
it,
want to
so
miss it.
it took
you
you this
don't.
long to get over it. I'm still recovering
I'm still
from
not
iPad
over
OS.
it. That's still by far, especially now that like the other thing high on my list of like things I wish my MacBook Pro had, center stage. Bing, got it.
Bing.
It's back now. I can just add it with the phone. So I don't even have center stage on the list of things I wish my MacBook had now. So if someone was like, "What's your biggest complaint? What's your biggest issue with the MacBook Pro?" It was the Touch Bar. I miss it. I fell in love with it. I got used to it, and it feels weird to now have a laptop without it. And I'm still trying to recover from that, but I don't
My
wish that on
biggest-
anyone.
My biggest complaint about the MacBook Pro today is that it's not the device itself; it's me. I don't use it enough opened. I treat it like
yeah.
like a stationary Mac, and I'm not taking it for granted intentionally, or at least not intentionally. I'm not, but I wish I wish I could use it more portably, and I just don't
Yeah.
need to. I love the option of having it there for like this next week or two. I will definitely need to be more mobile, and the battery's going to hold me just fine. Remember when I went to California at the beginning of the year and I never charged it once, and I lost.
Yeah, that was cool.
I went from 100 to 55% or something like that. It
Yeah.
was.
I did a similar thing on my anniversary trip.
I
And
love
the
that.
train trip. I
Yeah.
turned it into like a battery bank, and just when you treat it like a casual laptop, yeah, it didn't charge the whole trip.
So
It's crazy.
you agree with me then that this is completely useless?
I think there are. Well, I should preface because I've ranted on the iPad all week. So
Oh yeah, listeners,
I
I'm
know.
holding up my iPad Pro.
Yeah, he's holding up his iPad Pro with the Magic Keyboard case on it. I think.
Yeah, yeah.
I know I've been kind of kicking the iPad all week, so I just want to preface that for anything you use the Apple Pencil for, the iPad is still good at, because you can't use that pencil on anything else made by Apple. So note taking, if you're in a school and you got to draw graphs and charts and got to be specific, if you got to do notes and drawing for artistry, iPhone's not replacing that. Mac isn't replacing that. So for Apple Pencil use cases, the iPad is still the best solution for that. But that's the problem. I'm not in school. I don't take notes, and I'm not an artist. The main thing I used the stylus for was thumbnails, and iOS 16 just killed that. So I've realized now, once I kind of folded up the iPad and put it away because I wasn't using it for thumbnail design anymore, I was like, well, maybe if I need it for something else, I'll grab it. And I just wasn't running into that. I kept going on throughout the work week, and there was not that situation where, oh, I got to grab the iPad for that. There's certain things that are easy to access, notifications on the watch, or directions on the watch, or controlling volume on headphones, or texting people is very quickly now. WatchOS 9 brought predictive text to the keyboard.
Yep.
And I use that a lot. That makes me type even faster now. If I spell something wrong, usually the right word is right there. So quick texting to people, I use the watch. And if I need to take a picture, I use the phone or watch YouTube, Twitter. Multitasking is just so easy now with gestures.
Yeah.
Like I can just go back and forth. I'm on Discord and I respond, and then I just swipe and I'm back at Twitter. So I would still rather do that than split screen. And to be honest, that's kind of what I was doing on the iPad anyway. I wasn't splitting that much. I was mostly just full screen Discord, full screen Twitter, full screen YouTube, and just kind of switch between the two. But this is so portable. And I'm not alone in this regard, because my wife has had the 2017 iPad Pro for years, and it stays right here. She does not touch it. She'd rather use her phone. It's just easier to hold and more convenient. Yeah.
The one thing that's going to kill iPad for me personally, ladies and gentlemen, okay, is the moment Apple on our phone lets us do this for everything. The moment I can landscape everything, not just iMessage and then like the moment I can hold it like this justifies a bigger screen for me. And the moment it's a bigger screen that's justified like that, I don't even have my eyes set on the iPad Mini anymore, because that's the iPad I would go to. I love the form factor because I can landscape it. It's right here. And then those little times I'll tell you what I use my stylus for. And I ended up doing it a lot this past week because of the house buying process. I needed to sign a lot of documents. And sometimes they want wet signatures. Well, wet signatures by definition, so instead of doing a digital, I acknowledge that this is me.
You're not typing on a keyboard.
Yeah. So you have to actually sign, and they want your own handwritten signature. But they say sign it, scan it, send it to me. And whenever they said that to me, and I had to do that a lot, I just went to the iPad and went. So actually, that's why you mentioned I brought up the Magic Keyboard with the iPad. I had told people, and I think I even said on the show, that I ditched the Magic Keyboard because I just felt like it's too overkill. This is a situation where the iPad was just easier to do an all-in-one for me, since I can open the documents being sent to me in email, sign it, and send it back. And that's something that Apple does so smooth, so good. It's just quick, sign, send back. Anytime a signature is needed, a wet signature, the stylus has prevailed. Could have totally done that on an iPad Mini, though. So I still stand by.
On any iPad, really.
Yeah, but the iPad Mini is the most affordable, and it's the most convenient to hold.
It's the
But the
budget
moment
iPad still sitting in there.
that doesn't exist in my life.
That
I'm not
doesn't
buying
count.
another stylus. I'm using Apple Pencil 2 or whatever they want to call this one.
Who wants
Second
a
gen.
stylus?
Who? So the moment I could just landscape everything on iPhone and the wet signature can be my finger, um, I don't see it for me personally. I don't see a need for iPad because, like you, I'm not an artist in the sense that I can draw. I wish I was. I wish I was good, but I'm a photo
Yeah.
editing kind of visual artist, and then everything else is just, ugly sounds coming out of a speaker. Outside of that, I can't draw. I can't create something from nothing. I don't have that touch. So for me, the iPad can't help me there. Um, iOS 16 has just made it like lift because like same almost design language with thumbnails. I want to lift something. I want to be able to use this PNG to then highlight it to draw attention to it. Like it's just very YouTubey, So outside of that, I don't really need it anymore, and I don't regret if I. And one thing I was always kicking myself this week, and I want to ask you this question.
Okay.
I do not regret the 4 years I've used this iPad. And if I can go back and tell myself again, I would say still get the iPad Pro, get the stylus, and get every accessory that you wanted to use throughout those 4 years and be happy because it's been a great experience hardware-wise and everything like that. Obviously, hindsight, don't hold your breath for the software to catch up, but I do not regret getting it. Would you have done it differently knowing what you know now? Would you have just been like, I can work without this?
That is a good question. I mean, I do see the value in the time I had. It's like a family member that died or something. The iPad OS 16.
Internet Explorer and iPad.
Like life is temporary, and so is the iPad. So I had good times with it, and this iOS 16 thing wasn't a thing until recently. Maybe it wasn't possible before the right neural cores came out, I don't know. But when I got it, it was incredible. And for many years, it was my favorite Apple product because it had Type-C, it was super thin, the speakers were great, the display was 120 hertz, Face ID worked in landscape. It was the 2018 was the iPad that set the new standard for the future of iPad design. With the Apple Pencil 2 support was like addressed every major problem of the Apple Pencil 1, and for the times I used it and for when I masked with it and used it for thumbnails and times I tried to use it as my mobile editing machine, so we'd watch videos on it, we'd take it on trips and watch content on the screen, and I'd use it for Discord and Twitter and stuff. So for those times where it was useful to me, yes, I'd still say it was worth. I paid $1,000 for it. I got the base storage, and that was a lot. I definitely didn't buy it anticipating it to eventually run Mac OS or Final Cut or anything, but I'd be lying if I said there wasn't that hope because they gave it the USB-C, and I didn't even mention the A12X was the silicon that started opening the eyes of a lot of people that, okay, Apple's definitely going to switch to their own silicon. And if they can get this kind of performance out of a fanless chip, then imagine what they could do with a Mac. So it kind of was a great preview of what was yet to come. And I just got the boop, 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 boop. So let's see what. 10% on the right, 12 on the left. So there's your update. But so I guess that's my answer.
We'll make it to
no,
the end of the show.
I don't. I think we'll make it, yeah. I do not regret buying the iPad Pro. And if you recall, I was on the fence about keeping the 2 iPad Pro updates we got over the past 2 years. I was thinking about keeping the A12Z, and I was thinking about keeping the M1. The deciding factor was like how much I could sell my old iPad for, and I couldn't get very much for it. So I did. And I ultimately was like, center stage is fun, and I like mini LED, but I don't like it enough to spend. I think the price difference after I sold the 2018 was going to be like $500, $600. was like, I appreciate Center Stage, and now that it's on my phone, I'm very grateful I didn't spend all that extra money on Center Stage.
Yeah.
But I was tempted, and I can guarantee you, if I would have pulled the trigger and I would have kept the A12Z iPad or the M1 iPad, those I would have regretted, especially now, seeing them software lock features. Or even if I had the M1 iPad, I still would have been upset because I don't think Stage Manager is very useful or very good in the first place. So I'm like, I was trying to convey that in my rant. I was like, for the record, I'm not a fan of this feature, but saying that the A12Z chip can't handle it is baloney. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But even if I had it, I don't think I would utilize the hardware, and I'd feel ripped off, and I'd feel cheated. Luckily, the 2018 iPad Pro is so long ago now that I'm kind of fine with the idea of it not getting the latest features, but I would have felt less fine with it had I have bought the 2020 iPad Pro. 6 gigs of RAM with the A12Z chip. It's like, already you're locking me out? But there was a lot of time between that A12X and A12Z iPad. It was over a year. I think it was like 18 months or so.
Right.
So there's
Yeah.
there's a big gap there.
We
It's the
were
difference
so
between
lucky. We pulled the trigger on getting the 2018 iPad Pros. That we stretched that out so long. And admittedly, my favorite features on iPad Pro, this one 2018, are stuff that I can appreciate no matter what version or what things are locked out. Face ID, the
Sure.
4 speakers. The mic isn't even that bad. The camera's not that bad. The ProMotion display, the battery for how big it is and how bad I know the battery is. The battery is great. Using the
Yeah.
new, at the time the brand new Apple Pencil, the brightness of it too. Everything that is hardware based that's being utilized are my favorite features of the iPad. Always have been, and
Yeah,
why it
that's-
was hard for me
that
to let go.
stays.
That and the fact that it pairs to any keyboard, like how this is working, and then I got the mouse and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, this is cool. Fine, all right. It's not gonna be my Mac replacement, so I don't regret spending the money, but it's a lesson learned that I won't do it again. Because
Yeah, that's something I should preface. I don't
Yeah.
think I'll ever spend $1,000 or more on an iPad ever
yeah.
at this point. Again.
Even if
I won't
even if they
make that
give us
mistake a third time.
if they gave us everything that we wanted, personally, I'm too much of a Mac OS boy now.
Yeah, I was
would-
going to say it's too late. Like
too late.
if they would have dropped the because the M1 iPad Pro came out before these MacBooks did. So I don't know if I've said this on the record, but that would have been the time to sway me. That would have been it. If they would have launched the M1 iPad Pro and then at Dub last year announced dual boot Mac OS or Final Cut or extra, all the stuff, I did videos on it, I think. I said, here's the 3 things iPad OS would need for me to consider switching. And it was Pro Apps, real external monitor support. I barely count the Stage Manager thing, but okay, fine. Real external monitor support and external webcam support. Like, I want to be able to plug in outside cameras, and I guess in this case, I'll rephrase that: continuity camera. I need to be able to plug the iPhone into the iPad and utilize this cam, so that I could live stream or record videos and have the stuff go straight into the iPad OS firmware. If they would have launched that and taken the iPad Pro seriously, that's when I would have justified 2 terabyte iPad Pro with 16 gigs of RAM, Magic Keyboard case, and I could have gotten on board. I could have said, okay, this is replacing my iMac Pro. This is my new main machine. And yeah, I'm not really like a diehard I/O guy. Like, I like extra ports, but I could live with the dongle life. You know, I could plug in an external monitor and utilize the extra ports on it with the iPad. And the iPad could charge through the smart connector anyway, so I'd have that full Thunderbolt port just for accessories and additional stuff. So I could live without the big battery life of the MacBook. It's great, but I don't need it. Same with no SD card slot or no. I've never used the HDMI port on my MacBook. Still, it's not not in my workflow. It just doesn't need to
Yeah,
be there.
who would do such a thing?
But
As
I mean,
look
I'm
at
not gonna hate on the product because it has HDMI, Nicholas. But
Nick.
I don't use it, so it's not like a deal breaker if I can't get that on my machine. So summer of 2021, the day the iPad died. That's for me. That would have been the last chance because now that I've sunk my costs into the 16-inch MacBook Pro, it's the money is spent. It's I'm already committed, so it's too late. Basically, even if next year they said M2 iPad Pro with 2 Thunderbolt ports and all this, and we give it Final Cut, and we give it dual boot Mac OS, even if they did all that, I'd be like, that's really awesome. Thank you for listening. That's amazing. A lot of people I think will enjoy that. I'm happy with the Mac though because this has got more storage and it's bigger, which I appreciate, and the money is spent, so they're too late for me to be convinced again. But I still see value in iPads for people that do note taking or want a bigger display than their phone can offer. But it's just a bummer that they have such a fundamental limit on what they think it should be. And I know there's a lot of excuses. People are like, well, an iPad's an iPad, a Mac is a Mac. Don't try to blend the two. The closest thing I could compare it to is the iPhone, which is, it'd be the same to me as not putting the music app on the phone and saying, that's for iPod. Buy an iPod for music, and you buy a phone for texting and web browsing.
Are you
don't mix
getting
the two.
it?
These are two separate devices. Or the other example is the iPhone. The reason it's so successful, the reason it did so well, is because it combines so many products, and it was so great at replacing the camera and the phone and the internet devices and our music and our iPods. It replaced all those things. It cannibalized those things, but that's okay because we're willing to spend a lot of money on these devices. So it'd be like saying, don't make the iPhone camera better because cameras are for cameras and phones are for phones. Don't try to blend the two. That's how it feels when I say this iPad has the same silicon as this Mac, and yet this can't do 90 software things that this Mac can. And someone says, well, it's an iPad. iPads aren't supposed to do that. It's like,
Another way of
if
saying
you want to buy an iPod, you can. If you want to buy a camera, you can. But that doesn't mean that you should stop trying to make this better. Stop trying to make the one and all product that can do everything.
yeah. I think
So,
the problem we have, ultimately, how I sum that up, is that back then, why the iPhone's so successful is because they took all these risks. No one's taking the risk with the iPad. They're too scared. Don't
No.
be scared to cannibalize
they're being
your own
very
cells.
safe with it. Like,
For
we
no
can't
reason.
put Stage Manager on A12Z because the shading might look a little off, or the RAM might get maxed out a little early if they run 8 apps simultaneously. It's like, that's too much. They
I
can't,
don't
they
know
can't push
how
themselves.
much I can agree with that. And for me putting on the record, I'm okay if my 4-year-old iPad is not good enough to have these things. But
Yeah.
to
No,
say
I'm fine with it.
Stage Manager is the only thing we can do with the M1 chip,
Yeah,
when we have a
that's it.
whole product line for M1 chip, feels disingenuous. Because what? Okay, so it's the OS then. Well, then there lies in with the problem. What's wrong with the OS? You are doing to the iPad what you did to the iPhone, except the iPhone is still gonna take those risks. That we have all this headspace to grow into. At no point I could say that I think I've maxed out the utility of my iPad Pro 2018.
No, I can't say the same. Yeah.
I've never had an issue. LumaFusion always ran so smooth, exported it so quick. I'm like, okay, so video stuff is good. GarageBand by design is like limited, so I obviously never pushed the music limits on the iPad, which is why it's like, oh, give me Logic. But if you're going to say Logic today in 2022 can't help Logic or whatever for 2018, I get it. I hear you. And even if you're lying, I get driving cells for converting everything away from A chips to M1 or M iPads. I get that too. But to say that
Yeah,
here's
I'm
what
not
we're doing-
against the concept of software locking to the latest
Yeah,
silicon. But
but
that the
Stage Manager.
the thing
That's
they
where.
chose to software lock
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
bizarre. Yeah.
I'd rather you have not done anything at all because it doesn't give me. It's the same reason. Like, why are we waiting another year before we get possibly what I would assume customized lock screen on the iPad?
Right. Yeah, that was bizarre too. Because the iPad you'd think would take even more advantage of that. You have
With all
more
its widgets,
space.
yeah, more
Yeah,
information,
like you could put more
complications.
lock screen customization or pin the today view to the home screen. Let you control the time font
Yeah,
and where it goes. Like there's it's disappointing to me that on like day one of them announcing iPadOS 16, we already know what the headlining feature for iPadOS 17 is because they left it out like right
because they've done
away.
it 2 years in a row now. This is
Yeah,
the trend.
they add it to iOS and then they figure it out a year later on the iPad, or sometimes 10 years later in the case of the weather app. You know, still. So it's disappointing, and I've just found it easier to not use it than to try to expect it to be more. You know, we even before Dub Dub this year, we were all not expecting much. You know, we
No,
all didn't have much hopes, but um, it's it's still sad. It's even though we were expecting it, it's still disappointing.
yeah,
But I
I'm not let
I'm
down
not
this
gonna
time.
like I'm not gonna get like an iPad Mini now, or the budget iPad is rumored to get USB-C, so I think that's gonna be like a whole redesign, like iPad Air scaled down. Um, but I'm still glad I got the 2018 Pro because as far as using an iPad as just an iPad, like you said, that hardware is what I care about. I've always wanted USB-C. I love 120 hertz. I
A
love
laminated
Face ID,
display.
laminated. Yeah, it's all still there. So
Yeah,
at this point, like for the occasional times I think of something to do with my iPad, like when I was traveling, what was helpful was being able to prop up a big display to watch movies and shows on that doesn't take up a lot of space on the food tray. You know, like if I'm on a flight, the MacBook is going to take up the entire
yeah,
tray. Even the MacBook Air would because of how wide it is and the keyboard and track. Whereas my iPad takes up just this narrow little column
that's right.
when folded up.
Hmm.
So I have room for my food and drinks and I can put stuff there and still watch the show. It's not a common use case, but it's a use case. In those instances, I'll have a big display, which I can't get with the other iPads, and I'll have Type C, and I'll have Face ID, which I still prefer to Touch ID. So um, I think it's just going to be one of those iPads that ages fairly well. You know, like even if they stop giving iPad OS updates to the A12X, I don't think I'm going to be missing much because I already feel like I'm not missing much. You know,
Because it's
I
still gonna
got
play YouTube. It's still gonna let you
yeah,
if you need to sign or draw or do
uh huh,
thumbnails. You're still gonna be able to do that. It's still gonna let you take FaceTime calls. It's still gonna let you do everything that you've been doing for the last 4 years anyway. And if the fact
right,
that they're just like, hey, guess what? iPad OS now has the design language of Mac OS a little bit more and pro applications, but yours is out. But okay, that's fine. This it doesn't diminish what the 2018 iPad Pro has become now, even more
right,
so. If anything,
hmm
it just yeah, it just keeps solidifying that like that was the time to buy it, and that's why I don't regret buying it. Um, I wish
Or the
it for the
best time to
best.
buy it was when they were certified refurbished for $500.
That's it.
That was incredible value, and
That's
I,
amazing.
for the record, I do not regret telling people to buy that over the M1. I know there was a lot of people asking me over the years, should I get an M1 iPad or should, and I said no, get a certified refurbished 2018. The stage manager and external monitor stuff feels like a direct attack on that recommendation, but I just don't think those features are going to be utilized very much or very often. And the reason I'm more comfortable with it is because the less money you spend on iPad right now, the better. Because there's, at this point, I'd say a very high likelihood that next year they'll come up with some other Pro-esque feature that just the M2 iPad will get. And your M1 will instantly feel dated and locked out. So I don't want people comfortable with this style of upgrading of like, oh, well, to get the new iPad OS real productivity feature, I need to buy the M2 or I got to buy the M3. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Don't fall into that trap, because that's kind of the game Apple's playing right now. Is like, oh, we can't figure out how to get people to buy these, so let's invent software features, and only can be done with M1. There's no way to do it on something older, and it's like, they'll if that's the game they're playing now, they can keep that going. They can say these pro apps need the M2, or they could say this optimized battery charging needs M3, or some stupid crap like that.
Yeah.
So don't fall into that trap. Just if you need an iPad for note taking, $500-$600, that should be the max, I think, for an iPad at this point.
Yeah. I second that. Yeah. Definitely no
All right.
pros. No pros.
No new pros, I'll say. If you can get an 11-inch Pro for cheap, yeah, that's maybe one thing I would have done differently if I could do it again. Maybe I would have gone for the 11-inch.
Same. It's so yeah.
I like the size, but
We talked about
I
why
could've
we
saved
even did
$200
the
there.
bigger screen, because you and I and Nick were so adamant, like, oh my God, the writing's on the wall. This is going to compete with the 13-inch MacBook Pro, or at least a
Yeah.
MacBook Air. It's going to really blow it out of the water. It has better specs than the MacBook Air. It's right there. So let's just make that transition so much more seamless. As I put the clown makeup on.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. So
So let me ask you this: what's your percentage right
Right.
now at your thing? Mine
Oh.
is 40%. Final call for the day. 40%.
7% and 9%. So thank you, Discord, for
Thank you,
letting
Discord.
me set the microphone. And I'm on transparency mode. I didn't leave that mode up. My voice sounds too weird when I turn it off.
Me too. Naturally.
Yeah, transparent, always on transparency mode. That sounds like a marketing term. I'm surprised they didn't use that.
I would, because it's
AirPods
misleading.
3 have always on transparency mode, so you can
It's
always
not even
stay in
software
tune.
based.
It works even when the battery's dead. You can still hear everything around you as if you're not wearing it.
Wow.
It's like it's like them having Retina and Liquid Retina. It's like, what's the difference?
Yes.
It's newer. It's
The corners aren't sharp. We've curved
the Liquid
corners.
stands for
2018 or
it's
newer.
new. It's that's basically it. That one's just Retina. Is it the same pixel density? Well, yes.
Yeah.
But it's not Liquid.
Well, yes. If you're going to tell me that Retina and Liquid Retina are exactly the same, well, no. I don't care what the bleep you're
absolute
saying.
nonsense.
It's exactly the same. It's absolutely crazy.
That'd be great. Ben Shapiro announces the new iPhone.
It's exactly the same as the last one. If you're saying that the pixel density is a little bit different, well, then I'm saying you're completely wrong. If you take a look at it,
If you're
it is
asking
obviously
that
different.
the A16 chip would make a big difference. Well, yes, but
Well,
that's
yes.
not necessary.
Yes, but who's even going to notice that?
Right.
Let's just assume for a second that I am a Barbie girl, and I live in a Barbie world.
Are you getting it?
Well, there are 3 separate products.
Well, we'll miss you guys next week.
Yeah,
Sorry,
this is
we're
fun.
both busy and out of town, but we should be back the following week, I think.
I believe so.
So hang in there. Enjoy the M2 MacBook Pro unboxings and
Have fun.
people trying to be impressed.
Trying to make it to the 8-minute mark. We see you hustling.
Wow. It looks very similar.
And when we take off the back panel, you can see that the components underneath,
They're exactly the same.
they have this new thing, and it's what they're calling the touch bar. And only this model has it.
Oh my God. Well, thank you all for tuning in, and we hope you have an excellent rest of your week. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.